Hi everyone, welcome to Cooking in HD. It's Bart, and today I've made for you a pulled pork sandwich with my own homemade barbecue sauce. What's different about this episode is that the nice folks at Le Creuset have outfitted me with this lovely Le Creuset French oven, and I'm using it to braise and slow cook the pulled pork so that it becomes nice and tender to the point where you can just pull it apart. And the result is this sandwich that I've made for you right here. I've actually, so you've got pulled pork on the bottom, and I've made my own homemade barbecue sauce that I've mixed in with the pulled pork, and then I've sprinkled a little bit of English Stilton blue cheese on top, and I'm serving it with a homemade coleslaw. Let me show you guys what goes into my rub for the pork shoulder. About 1 teaspoon of coriander seed, 1 teaspoon of chipotle chili peppers, 1 teaspoon of cloves, 1 tablespoon of dry mustard, about a tablespoon of pepper, a tablespoon of hot peppers. These are hot peppers that have been dried and then ground up. Sweet peppers, same thing. About a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of garlic powder, maybe 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, and about, I don't know, half a cup of brown sugar. I'm gonna mix it up all together, and then we'll create the rub and spread it all over the pork shoulder. All right, check out this pork shoulder. There's lots of nice marbling there. It's a nice little piece. And then I'm gonna take my rub, and I'm just gonna put it all over the shoulder and literally rub it in. Just make sure that it covers all of the pork on both sides. Okay guys, I've taken the pork shoulder out of the fridge where it has been in overnight in a Ziploc bag along with the rub that I've created for this. The next step will be for me to take this pork shoulder and put it into this Le Creuset massive stock pot that I have here. This is a 9-quart, 8.5 liter Le Creuset pot or French oven that I'm gonna use to sear the outside of the pork shoulder. So I'll put some oil in here, get it nice and hot, and then sear the outside of the shoulder, then take it out, make my barbecue sauce inside here, and then put everything back in and put it in the oven for low and slow cooking. The Le Creuset is perfect for this because it's got an enamel coating, so it's going to allow me to sear the outside nicely, but it's also a nice heavy pot, and that makes it perfect for low and slow cooking because it allows for even distribution of the heat to break down the muscle and collagen that's inside this pork shoulder. All right, now let's take this pork shoulder and we'll start to sear it. Oh, that's music right there. Love that sound. So notice that it fits nicely inside this 9-quart pot, and we'll just let it cook on the outside. And while this is happening, I'm gonna go ahead and make my braising liquid, which will then become our barbecue sauce. So I'll show you how to do that next. All right, folks, here are the ingredients for the braising liquid or barbecue sauce that we're gonna cook our pork shoulder in. There's a lot of them. If you want to know exactly what goes into it, just go to cookinginhd.com and do a search for pork shoulder. All of these ingredients will be listed as well as their quantities, and you'll be able to see exactly how to make the barbecue sauce or braising liquid that I'm going to slow cook the pork shoulder in my French oven. Okay, well, I've just given this pork shoulder a nice sear on the outside, giving it some color, and then in the pot that I used to sear the pork shoulder in my French oven here, I'm just going to saute some onions and just soften them up a little bit. Now this has been sauteing for about 5 minutes or so, and you can see that the crispy bits on the bottom are starting to come off, which is good because that's going to flavor the onions. And next, what I want to do is add just a little bit of garlic and press that in there. There we go. Okay, the garlic's in there now. And remember that barbecue sauce, which is actually our braising liquid that I showed you how to make and show you the ingredients for. So we're just gonna dump this all in there. All those things. The tomatoes, the spices, the apple cider, all of that goodness. All right, my braising liquid is now boiling, so I'm going to turn the heat down. And the next thing I want to do is take my pork shoulder and just place it inside there, like that. Oh, that is a beautiful sight, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I've got my oven preheated here to, let's see, 250. And I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put the lid on my pork shoulder, which is inside my braising liquid, and I'm gonna stick it in the oven. And it's gonna be there for at least 3 hours. I'll have to check to see how long, but it's definitely gonna take a while to get this pork shoulder to break down the tissue and just become soft and stringy so that we can begin to pull it apart. So I'm really happy with the way that this has turned out so far. I've got to put a lid on it and get this in the oven. Alright guys, it's been 3.5 hours and let me just show you here up close. I think this is ready. If you look at it, it just flakes right off, just like that. And that's what we want in our pulled pork. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to try to do this carefully because it might kind of fall apart. And I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to set it on a cutting block to rest, and I'll cover it with tin foil. And then this, I'm going to skim the fat off, and then I'm going to bring it up to a boil, and I'm going to reduce down this barbecue sauce. I mean, it's a pretty good consistency, but I do want it to kind of reduce down a little bit and just be a little bit more concentrated. I'm just going to shave this. And you can see it just falls apart. You just got to run a knife through or a fork through it. There we go. And here's the pulled pork, and I'm just gonna put some of the barbecue sauce in on top of this. I've already shredded it, mix it in, and the next part will be for me to serve it and taste it for you. Alright guys, well I've waited about 4 hours for this. I've got my pulled pork on a fresh Kaiser bun with a bit of English Stilton blue cheese. So let's just get the top on, and I'm gonna take a bite of this for you and tell you what it tastes like. Wow, that's moist, porky goodness. And you can see I've got tons of barbecue sauce in there. And it's sweet, it's a little bit tangy, and it's literally dripping out. So I'm gonna dig into this and wash it down with some dark beer. And I hope you guys consider making this. This is absolutely incredible. Cheers.